Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by our Patreon supporters and CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day, and our co-sponsor CardHoarder.com, offering the best inventory, prices, and delivery of cards for Magic Online, and our newest co-sponsor Cardamajigs.com, presenting Cubamajigs. These durable, scratch-resistant plastic cases are perfect for cubes, sideboards, and more, with new designs every single Monday. Go check them out. I am Evan Irwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, Aaron Campbell.
Happy Wednesday.
Ruben Bressler.
Hello, friends. Good to be back.
It is excellent to be back. We have a Kickstarter, and it is going to end in the next 15 minutes.
Oh, 15?
73. I'm sorry, 73 minutes to go.
I was going to say, I thought we had till the end of the show.
We have to the end of the show. So we have to the end of the show.
I had a clip scheduled and everything. I mean, we're pulling out the stops.
We are so
73, close. 73 minutes to go. 500 and X dollars.
$22.
Oh boy.
$22.
Yeah.
So we got a couple of the spots left. We got a couple of the special guest slots that have rooms still in them. So if we got two folks who want to be a special guest, that'll get us most of the way there.
Now, to be clear, we have funded the set review itself. So that is definitely happening. What we're really going for is the ability to get guests on the show. And so that's usually, that really breaks up a lot of the, dare I say, the monotony of it, because these are very long. These are long videos. And so to be able to have something else to react to other than each other, to have different takes on cards other than ours, which, can be a little predictable. We like what we like. It just breaks everything up and gives it a little bit of flavor. So hopefully you guys will help us do that. But thank you for what you've already done.
Yes.
So
to be clear,
absolutely.
Thank you so much. We were not funded when we ended the show last week, and we funded.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
But I woke up and we were. So that was a nice
one.
Yeah, that was waking up to an awesome result. So thank you. We are going to have a complete set review no matter what happens.
Yes.
It would be terrific to get to that stretch goal, if nothing else, because it's nice that, for example, they saved me from pie bets. Had there not been Efro and Patrick Sullivan to be like, Calvin Chamberlain is like the best card in Dominaria.
The next one.
That's right. I want them to save me from the next one. We have 2 spots open, so you at home right now watching us on Twitch could be part of the stream for the top tier there. But that said, let's keep on moving on with our trumpet blast to get one for supporting us at the highest level on Patreon. We ain't got one, but if we do, we'll let you know. If you have a special event or something you want to talk about, feel free to support us on there. All right. That said, we have a $50 gift certificate to give away. Exclamation mark raffle. We'll get you into that giveaway. We'll be giving that away.
Tickets are flowing.
Tickets be flowing. That's good. That's
perfect.
Good. Cool. So, for the first pick this week, we finally saw the Challenger decks. And the Challenger decks were a huge hit last year. And I mean a monster, gigantic. We both not only bought one, at least for me, it was the first FNM I'd played in years.
Yeah.
Years. Long time.
Nice.
I was super pumped. I thought they were the perfect product. And Wizards did not screw around. That was my favorite part of that thing. For God's sakes, there were 30 rares in the vehicle deck I bought. 30. They were giving away rares just left and right. Play sets of Regal Caracal in the sideboard because who cares? I had some Harsh Mentors in the sideboard because who cares, right? Like, they were just throwing that stuff in there.
Right.
And they also sat on the lists much longer than they did the first time. The first time we knew by mid-February. Now it's almost late March for us to figure this out. And the deck lists themselves are okay, but the problem is it feels like that Wizards is pulling punches. It feels like this is exactly what happened with Modern Masters. As you said, the Modern Masters 1 came out, everyone lost their mind. It was the first time that Wizards had ever did it. That's also a very important point. So it was the first time they ever did it. They found out it was hugely successful. It was selling for way more than MSRP. So they increased the MSRP and they made the value worse. So this one, the MSRP did not change, but the value feels worth. Now I want to say feels because there has been some analysis in terms of how much these are worth. And basically, you got lower value, huge value, because one of the decks is a blue-red Arcane Tempo deck. And it has, in fact, one Arclight Phoenix in it. And that card is worth $30.
Right.
These MSRP for $30. So ultimately, what I feel like you've seen here is the mono white deck has 2 Legion's Landing, 2 History of Benalia. I feel like this should be 4 and 4. Like, I feel like the original intent of what these Challenger decks supposed to be was to provide everything. These sets are rotating in the fall. That's the whole point, is to get your last bit of value out of them. And instead, we've got some good decks. The mono red deck is fine, right? But here at the end, instead of being like, take this awesome tournament deck, figure out how to play it and go, they're like, well, here's how you can upgrade it. Here's how you can, change and adapt. And maybe you should put in some Theater of Horrors, or maybe you would like a Rix Maudit Reveler, or maybe a Rakdos Guildmage. It's like, why don't you give us those things? Are you serious with this 2 Jade Light Ranger thing and no Vraska's Contempt, no Carnage Tyrant? Like, 2 Jade Light Ranger and 4 Seeker Squire. Come on, Wizards. What are we doing here? You're taking a great product and you are lessening it. It's not crap. It's not bad. You're just making it worse. And I don't understand why you threw down such an incredible gauntlet in 2018. Just like, this is what we're doing. Yes, there are 4 Heart of Kirin in that deck. Oh my God, really? Yes, you are getting all of the copies of this, that, and the other. Like, everything you were looking for these decks was in those decks. Yes, they pulled a little bit of a punch in terms of the mana base for the vehicle deck, but for God's sakes, you got 30 rares in it, not to mention 4 mythics. So, like, there was plenty of value to be had all over the place, and that's the one I bought, and I had a ton of fun with it, even though, yeah, the mana base wasn't all that great. Okay, sure. But like,
they were also competitive. I mean, one of the things that made those decks so attractive to you and I was that we were literally able to go to F&M, buy that box, take a pack of sleeves, sleeve it up, and we were able to go to F&M with very little of an investment, or even just nothing. And so that's what made them so attractive. I haven't played a lot of Standard, but from the looks of these decks, I'm not convinced that I could do the same things with these decks. I look at these decks and I'm going, I'm going to have to do a little bit of upkeep in order to register these things. And that's a little disappointing, because that's what made it so fun. It got people like you and I who were looking at getting back into Standard, but didn't really know where to start. The ease, the convenience of, here we go, I'm in. It doesn't seem like it's here with these decks.
I mean, this Lightning aggro deck, I think I'm like fine with just this 60 card deck. Like, that one is the red deck looks fine to me.
It looks okay. Of all of them,
I
think
the confession to make.
Uh-oh.
What's up?
Uh-oh.
So I am going to buy one of these, but I bet you don't know which one I'm going to buy.
Well, of course you're going to buy the green-black one, Yob.
Right.
No.
Yob.
No.
Uh-oh.
Well, the other one that says the word graveyard a lot in it is the blue-red one.
I was actually going to buy the Lightning Aggro one.
Wow.
Experimental Frenzy is a hell of a drug. Like, you give me that card and it's like, oof.
That card's not a very fair Magic card.
I love experimental Necropotence. It's spectacular.
Speaking of Experimental Frenzy, I have a Patreon stream this Friday. I will be on the Magic Mike's channel. You can come watch me playing Frenzy Affinity, where I will be doing Broken Things. So come say hello. That card is so good. So good.
Yeah, basically, so here's what you have. You have Arcane Tempo being a deck that has 3 Sulfur Falls in it. Not only do you have a $30 Mythic, not only do you have 2 Niv Mizzets and all these really sweet uncommons like Lava Coil that you're going to need playsets of, you get 3 Sulfur Falls on top of it. Like, that's just straight value, because you're getting 1 Overgrown Tomb and the black-green one, which is appreciated. But again, they feel like what Pharmacist Judge noted was they feel like event decks. They don't feel like full-blown, like, the doors have been blown off. We're not messing around. You're getting all of the copies that you need, like the first set did. And I feel like that was the key to making these keep their excitement and to hold out on these lists, to make us wait another month almost versus last year. And I think now we know why. Because whatever hype that they both got and sustained last February was not got and sustained with not with these lists.
There were a couple of there were a couple of strange choices with card selection here. Now, to cut them a little bit of credit, or cut them a little bit of slack, these decks were designed a while ago and were
right after the Pro Tour.
Right after the Pro Tour, and so it wasn't exactly known how Ravnica Allegiance was going to change things beyond even just the 5 new Shocklands that were coming out, which obviously opened up a bunch of 3-color options and new 2-color options. Most of the Golgari decks these days, for example, splash blue for Hydroid Crisis. That's not exactly a thing that you can do in these event decks, so we'll cut them a little bit of slack there. But you're right, the hype that was surrounding the event decks last year is not the same as it is this time.
The actual people looked up the value just before we move on here. People looked up the value and they saw that last year's was worth 95, 79, 84, 90. Okay, that equals 348 total. This year's is 64, 79, 72, 123. So yeah. What you can see there clearly is a powering down of all the others, and I honestly think they're just getting lucky, essentially, with how expensive Phoenix is and how it just busted into Modern and is all over the place. And had it not been a $30 Mythic, and if it was just a $5 to $10 to even $15 Mythic, that value wouldn't be near as high, which would you then see a much more larger disparity. So, again, it seems like they cranked it down, and I want them to not do that. Yeah. I don't feel like we're going to have Challenger decks in 2021 if they don't stop this.
And why would you do that? Like, why would you take, it's a classic case of if it ain't broke, like why?
I don't know. It just seems, it's confusing from the outside. I'm sure that there is a good reason for it because they wouldn't break it or they wouldn't try to fix it if it wasn't broken. And so I'm sure that there is a good explanation here. The project is being run and operated by some very smart folks, and headed up by Donald Smith, for example, who I have in a great amount of faith in. And yeah, it is a little confusing, but I would hope for better.
I can imagine he was given guidelines and he had to follow them, whatever those happen to be.
Yeah.
But I hope they're either lessened or removed in the future. Again, I feel like we have a great product that is just like you're hurting it in a way that, and I'm speaking for the players here, because like from a business perspective, this is great. I want you to buy 2 more History of Benalia's from the store or whatever, or 2 more Legion's Landing. I get that. That's the business side of things. But from the player side, this makes me go buy this deck and play an F&M side. They lost me on these.
Somebody in chat had a really great metaphor. One of our mods, they were like, you go all out on Valentine's Day the first year with flowers and chocolate. The second year, just flowers. And then the third year, you just get a card. Like,
this is just this is unfortunate. And while I hope it doesn't necessarily hurt the product per se. I hope the feedback is, okay, you shouldn't have done that. Let's fix the course next year. Give us the 4 Legion's Landing. Give us the 4 History of Benalia. Don't hold back, because holding back is exactly what's going to sink this product. And it can be felt. All right, so let's move on here to better things, to nicer things, to even more fun things. This would be what was posted this afternoon, which was the State of Arena Beta. And wow, there are a ton of awesome announcements. I will go ahead and pull this up for you guys so you can take a look at it. But basically, we are getting the giant cosmetic update that we have been waiting for. This would be card backs, which they call sleeves, which I think is super cute.
Yep.
This would be new avatars that you can get, and of course you can purchase them with gems or whatever. And this would also be card styles. Now on the screen right now, they show you what it looks like, and they have essentially done sort of a 3D-esque type image morph to these things, and they look amazing. And card styles are essentially, they don't want to do foils, and I'm sure that for whatever reason and whatever, but if this is our foil essentially for the client, I'm totally okay with that. Card styles, you unlock 1 and then you don't have to unlock any more. It's unlocked for every copy that you have of that card. If you choose to use it, you don't have to use them. But note that getting a card style does not give you the card. If you got the card style for Sulphur Falls, but you don't own one, then you're not going to be able to use it. So with that said, they've already done a ton of cards. They look absolutely amazing. And
how do I acquire this card style?
You would acquire this card style in a few different ways, mainly through purchasing on the website. Card styles cost 400 gems for commons, 600 gems for rares, 1,000 gems for rares, and 1,200 gems for mythic rares.
Oh, you can't just pay money?
Well, that is money.
Money.
You buy gems through the store.
Gems are money.
Yes. So you get, I think it's, I don't remember what
They're
it is.
sort of money. I get your point, though.
It's their fun bucks.
Give them dollars, yeah.
Right. So
you have to turn them into Chuck E. Cheese tokens before you can, yeah.
Now, you can't use gold to unlock essentially the foils, which I think is unfortunate, because that's really the free-to-play sort of way to go, is to somehow get enough gold to get stuff that you want. Do note that avatars cost 500 gems or 3,000 gold each, so at least you can unlock them with free-to-play mechanic stuff there, so you don't only have to grind out gold if you want. But I think card styles are super cool, and again, check out the article if you want to see them. Sleeves are cool. They're expected, essentially, but they're great. You know, they look neat, and you can get those. The new avatars are neat, not quite as expensive. And there's a practice mode. You can now practice your decks against an AI.
That's cool.
This would be the Sparky opponent that you use that shows up during the tutorial.
I want to be able to pick my tokens. That was always my big
that'd be cool
thing. Like even with Magic Online, you know, every once in a while somebody tweets a thing and they're like, what is the one thing about Magic Online you would change? And people are like, I want to change the interface. And they're like, I want to change this. And I'm like, I just want to be able to pick my tokens. Like my requests are simple.
I always appreciated that the foil cards made foil tokens. I always appreciated that for Magic Online. That said, there was one last thing here at the end that they did that they call, essentially it's a, let's see, what do they call it here? It's a mastering magic. Let's see here. This is a mastery tree. Essentially, it is a progression system for people who are new to the game to unlock cards. So you'll go through, you'll do, let's see, players starting off will end experience points when they play, and each level unlocks new rewards, including gold, deck upgrades, and more. So you can choose essentially different colors as you kind of branch out over this really cool graphical setup. And you can be like, oh, if I choose the white one, I'll get 3 angels, which is pretty cool, or at least 3 flying creatures, which is pretty cool. Players can skip the tour if they wish to unlock all the different play queues. You know, basically you can skip the tutorial, but you'll still need to play in order to earn rewards to get this stuff. For the existing players, you've already completed the new player quest chain and unlocked all the deck rewards. We're not going to make you go through and do it again, which is appreciated. You'll still receive any of the new rewards players can earn as part of this updated system, and apparently check your email once the update is live. This update goes live next week, next Wednesday.
Okay.
So
cool.
That's cool.
That all seems great.
Yeah. And there's going to be a new event to celebrate the March update and the upcoming Mythic Invitational. There's going to be the treasure constructed. At the beginning of each upkeep, you get a treasure token.
Nice.
And that's
I
going to
think
be
they've done
free.
that before.
Yeah, they've done free events like this before. And so to make it extra special, they're going to be offering the event for no entry fee. You can participate as many times as you want without spending gold or gems. And that's going to be really neat. And of course, that's going to warp whatever deck you build to probably be ridiculous as they do.
Yeah.
Which will be fun.
It'll warp your decks to be even number based, probably, right?
And they hype Mythic Invitational here, where March 28th through 31st at PAX East. That's coming up very soon, next week, in fact. Presented by Omen by HP, which is also interesting. And Wizards, I mean this in the best way. Don't repeat your exact coverage like you did last time at the Pro Tour.
I mean, it's too late for them to change it now.
Swap it up. Get some lights. Get some pizzazz.
They've got some lights and pizzazz.
I want voice chairs. I want the coverage people to like spin around and like hit the button when they like things.
Wow. I don't think I want that.
I'm not sure.
I'm gonna veto that one.
Okay.
You're gonna hit the button?
I'm gonna hit the button on. Well, I'm not gonna hit the button.
You're not gonna hit the button.
I'm gonna hit the. What's the one where you hit the button if you don't like it?
Well, we move on from Magic Arena. You'd never hit the button. That's when you don't like it.
Right.
For Magic Arena, we go now to Magic Online. There was a weekly announcements blog. By the way, they still don't know what's going on with the 2018 Magic Online Championship. Is that correct?
I don't know.
As far as I know, nothing's been announced, but there's also events now for the 2019 Championship. When they haven't finished the 2018.
Yep.
It's the end of March, guys. What are you doing? Like, are we really Pascaling this where they're just going to split the prize amongst the people who are qualified and just be like,
did you seriously turn him into a verb?
we Pascaling this? I don't know, man. It's crazy. All right, so here's the cool part. From April 10th to May 1st, the London Mulligan will be the Mulligan used on Magic Online. Everything. This Mulligan is a part of an experiment in their never-ending efforts to improve the game we all know and love. It will apply to all formats, in all events, and casual too. Your Commander games are going to be like this, from your Vintage games, from your Legacy games. As MTGO is the best and largest way to play classic formats like Legacy and Vintage, this will give them a bunch of data to see, basically, does this actually break Legacy? Does this actually break Vintage? Well, by God, they have a platform to let you see if it broke it.
I am so excited. I am going to be like that lioness in the National Geographic video, just waiting in the grass for the limpy gazelles to just limp past me, where it's like, oh, we just want to play for magic. Rawr, I'm just going to eat.
You're like, Mull, serum powder, blah, blah.
I want to see your reaction to every post-sideboarded game having turn 0 ley line. Every single one.
I do tentatively want to increase my streaming during that time, because I think that there's a lot of really fun. A lot of the decks that I gravitate towards can benefit from this, and so I do want to try. I do want to try Vintage, and I do want to try Legacy, and I want to try 2-card Monty, and I want to do all of that, and so I plan on streaming a little bit more during that period. So I can't wait.
And because this is Magic, and we cannot have nice things,
we really can't.
It was then brought up that there is a Grand Prix in Niagara Falls. First of all, there's a Grand Prix in Niagara Falls.
Yep.
Secondly, it's on Easter weekend. Okay, fine. These people who have invested tons of money into their decks, whatever. And now the London Mulligan thing is going to happen over the last week of testing between that and when the event happens. To which I respond a little bit. I responded on Twitter already for this, but what I said essentially was, look, if you've got a $5,000 deck and you wait a week until the event to test it on Magic Online, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. There's something going on there that's beyond testing for a week on Moto. But I would say
I think that's not the argument, but
I mean, the argument is that the last minute testing on Magic Online is not going to be able to happen in a more or less correct way.
You want Magic players to plan for 2 weeks ahead of time? Come on.
Jeez.
You think that they don't have a tournament this weekend to prepare for? You want them to prepare for a week for a tournament that's happening in 2 weeks.
There it is.
When they have a standard tournament this weekend. And then you want them to prepare for, when do you want them to prepare for that tournament? Next week after the tournament's happened? You're messing with everybody's schedules. It's like when you lose an hour and then you gain an hour later in the year. It's like, I want my week back. I get the frustration.
I get the frustration. I do. I understand.
I get the frustration, and and I'm sorry, but it's also like 4 people frustrated compared to the 40 people who have the benefit.
Yeah.
Obviously, those aren't the real numbers. It's a lot more numbers.
It is, but I think for me, the quietly genius part of this is that Wizards gets to see, does this break Vintage and Legacy? Does it actually do that? Because there's enough games on Magic Online to actually give you a sample source.
Right.
There's just not enough in real life tournaments, and if there are, there's not enough coverage of them.
I would have loved for this to have been a thing while the VSL was still going on. While we were still in the kind of the qualifying events where, a lot of things get legitimacy on the VSL. I mean, look what's happened with Lavinia. You saw people come out of the gate with Lavinia in VSL, and then it trickled down to the rest of the format. And so I think that would have been a great place to showcase this.
Absolutely.
It's really unfortunate that the timing didn't work out.
Right. So that's unfortunate. But again, I think the benefits outweigh the detractors in terms of getting an idea, does this break things? That's really interesting. Honestly, there's going to be a ton of conversation at that event about playing on Magic Online with the new Mulligan. Like, that's actually going to be probably a really hot topic, which I can imagine will be really interesting.
I think it also reaffirms their commitment, and I think somebody said this on Twitter, it reaffirms their commitment to the older formats because, Magic Online is really what that's for. It's for the modern, it's for the legacy, it's for the vintage. I believe the young man, Moose, Bear, the guy.
Moose Bear.
Yeah. He said, I believe he went on the record as saying that they don't have any immediate plans to implement the older format. So, what better way to get these people excited who are still on Magic Online for these formats than to give them an opportunity to test something really awesome like this. And so I think that's really cool. And I will be there. I will be there with a lobster bib on. Just time.
I want to note something. And this is something I see sort of on the macro level. Wizards has been doing a lot of changes lately. And as we know, and as we've certainly reacted to all of them, but I have to hand it to Wizards. They are doing a lot of things that would be just too much that the old guard would not allow them to do. Like, essentially renaming the Pro Tour, for example. I don't know who died on that hill, but I have a feeling somebody in the old guard was just like, this has to be the Pro Tour and that's just how it is, and so on and so forth. Now, that said, it does cause a lot of, consternation, if you will, as people get very upset about it. But There's also sort of the leaving of the old guard that you see happening at Wizards of the Coast. This week, not one, but two longtime employees left the company. The first was Mark Globus. Mark Globus has had his fingerprints on Magic cards for, I think, as long as I've been back in the game, maybe a little bit after I got back around Darksteel, but he's been essentially one of their product developers or, product managers and whatnot who creates some of the products that we see in stores, and he's no longer with the company. And then Ruben, you can tell us about our other departure.
Yeah, my good buddy Sam Stoddard is moving on to greener pastures, taking a job at Blanco's Block Party at Mythical Games, even as a game designer for Magic, still can't get away from that Mythic tag. But yeah, Sam was just previous to his very first job at Wizards of the Coast was a co-host of mine on a podcast called the In Contention podcast with myself, Matt Cranstuber, and Sam Stoddard. And recently, Joey Pasco, who was the replacement co-host who took over for the second half of In Contention, for the third of the In Contention history, because originally it was just Cranny and Sam, then I got added in, and then Joey came on board. Tweeted that now that Sam's no longer at Wizards, we can get the band back together. So see ya, suckers. Time to go back to my original stomping ground. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, Sam has been there for, 7 years. Is that right?
I think so.
Some long man, and it's there's a lot of turnover. It's always sad when you see those big names. I identify obviously a lot closer with Sam in particular because I know him so well.
Right.
And so seeing him move on, and then obviously when Tom Lapilli moved on, because I knew Tom so well as well. Those are more personal for me. But yeah, Mark Globus is a name that it just is like, he's a lifer. How is he not there anymore?
Yeah, it's sad, definitely. Sam Stoddard is just ubiquitous to me. When I think of Magic, I don't remember a time where he wasn't involved with the game. And it's certainly very sad. But you also have to wonder. There are people like me who love the tea, and I'm just like, what happened? Like, right. And so like you want to respect that, obviously, but there's a little part of you that's like. You're texting your girlfriends, you're screenshotting things, and you're trying to, piece the clues together. And, you wonder if it was amicable. You wonder if they were forced out. You wonder if there's like a story there, if the sales were bad. Like, for someone like me, like, I'm just dying to know what happened.
There are 4 people who, if they were to leave Wizards, I would be very, very concerned. The first one would be Bill Rose, who is Rosewater's and I think Forsyth's boss. Guy had been there for basically since the beginning, helped design Mirage. The reason Memory Lapses in Homelands is because he came to the company and just kind of threw that one in the file when he showed up. He's been there forever. Aaron Forsyth would be incredibly alarming. Eric Lauer would be incredibly concerning. And the last one, of course, would be Mark Rosewater. Right. And those 4 to me are such pillars of the Magic as we know it, the Magic that has been cultivated over the last 2 decades, or at least certainly the last 15 years or so. Those are the pillars to me of like, I'm scared if something happens to those people.
I would add the 5th name of Helene Bergeau, but with that, you can have a table that has 4 legs and missing the 5th, I suppose. But I think that there's a lot of change that's happening in Wizards of the Coast, and I think that it's growing pains, and you take the good and you take the bad, and you take the facts of life.
Oh, so, Jesus.
So this weekend, Guillaume Matignon won with the Is It Phoenix deck in Bilbao.
Yeah, Team Guillaume.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. That deck is ridiculous. And
Is It Phoenix, yeah.
This was a modern event, is that right?
Yep, this was modern. Yeah. Is It Phoenix had a huge weekend. It's interesting how the conversation has become less about Dredge and more about Phoenix. Phoenix is getting a lot of comparisons to Splinter Twin in that it's just so darn resilient, and it pivots into a very similar plan with Blood Moon and Keranos. That just makes it very, very hard to attack. And I didn't see too much of it at the Hunter Burton Open this weekend, but just a lot of that conversation of if it's not looting, looting. What are we going to do? Because, I mentioned on the last show when people wondered why they weren't banning faithless looting is because it sounds like Wizards was implying that people weren't doing enough. And I said on the show that if they see that people are really trying and a strategy is still busting through, well, then they might consider banning some cards. But for a while there, people just weren't giving decks like Phoenix and Dredge the respect that they were due, and that's why the decks were doing so well. So I'm anxious to see if this trend continues, because as of right now, it looks like people have tried to step up their game a little bit, and the deck is just so darn resilient. And so I'm wondering if this is going to last, or if there's something coming down the pipe in another set, whether it be War, whether it be Horizons, that is going to put the kibosh on it, because I've been keeping up with it, obviously, because I'm invested in faithless looting, and now we're in the stage where people are trying and nothing's working. And
right. Well, I think that people are figuring out exactly how hard to try without breaking their own strategies.
Yeah.
Right. There's a difference between putting putting Rest in Peace in your deck. Like, obviously that's the kind of thing that we haven't gotten to yet, of main decking Rest in Peace and playing like the red-white prison decks, and really doing that kind of thing. There's a difference between that and just putting surgical instructions in your deck.
Mm-hmm. Chris Pakula actually made a really great suggestion of banning Metamorphose.
Sure.
Which I actually don't mind, and I think that's part of the reason. I think that's kind of how you're seeing a lot of the Phoenix decks run a Pyromancer's Ascension, which is another
as a value card,
which was a Storm tool that also went with Metamorphose. And so I think Metamorphose would be a nice hit where you don't want to get rid of Hollow One decks that use Faithless Looting. You don't want to get rid of Dredge that uses Faithless Looting. If the issue really is just their ability to kind of chain, hitting the Metamorphose would be a great way to do that.
Right.
Wow, it's weird. It's almost like you're advocating for a card that's not in Dredge. Gosh, Faithless Looting could not possibly be the problem. For what it's worth.
What I'm saying, though, is historically they don't like to obliterate strategies.
Correct.
They want people to play with the toys they have. They just don't want you to play with them as effectively. And there
they
are
like to pull out a tool.
Right. I mean, Dredge was kept a little bit down at Bilbao. It wasn't nearly as oppressive as it was at Weekends Past. So what we're seeing now is people are gearing up for the matchups. I faced a lot of hate this weekend at Hunter Burton. Like, people were ready for me. I had Burn players that were running Crypts and Rest in Peace. I saw Cages. So the work
Cage is the card.
Right. So what I'm saying is people are bringing in cards. They're working against Dredge, but they're not keeping Phoenix down. And that's becoming the issue. It's becoming less about us and more about them, because it's so resilient.
And for what it's worth, I do agree that the Metamorphose is probably just a broken Magic card. Mm-hmm. Like, it's too good. It replaces itself for nothing. It gives you any mana you want. It's already hybrid. Like, it checks a lot of boxes of stupid broken things. There was actually a highlight from this weekend from the SCG event where I believe it was Dylan Hannon, but I can't remember. Either way, there was an Is It Phoenix player, and they had Pyromancer Ascension, and they just started chaining the Metamorphoses, and they started chaining and a couple lightning bolts thrown, and then all of a sudden 4 Phoenixes showed up and killed the guy from 21 out of nowhere, and because he was at 1 life, and that was his last turn ever, and just destroyed him. It was crazy.
1 is not 0, as they say.
Unless it's the Challenger deck, am I right? 1 Phoenix.
Right, there you go.
Okay, so this is one of the weirdest promotions I've ever seen in my life. It's not
okay.
All right. I'm not necessarily against it. I mean, I'm a marketer. I get it. I don't necessarily hate what's going on here. But on randomhousebooks.com, there is a campaign to sign up for their newsletter. And if you'll sign up to the newsletter, you'll receive, as it has here, 20 free Ravnica prequel stories by fantasy author Django Wexler. And first of all, sweet, I'll take free value. I love free value.
I'm literally filling in my email address right now. I didn't know that this was a thing.
We can hear you type, don't worry.
Subscribed. Thanks,
hey,
Random House.
But it's really, in a way, I think this is cool and neat and interesting. I've never seen anything like this before. But I've never seen this angle of just get to our newsletter, so we'll give you this content, but then we got you. We got you on that newsletter action, and it's just okay. I guess who called who here? That's what I want to know. Yeah. Was Random House calling up Wizards, or was it Wizards calling up Random House? Because somebody had to initiate this conversation to get to the point where we are now, and it's really interesting to me. I've never seen.
My guess is that it is Random House contact. Well, it's probably someone put them in touch with each other of like, hey, you two should get to know each other.
Right. Because you're doing the Ravnica book.
I wouldn't be shocked that if it was Django Wexler or one of the other fantasy authors that works with Random House and then got in touch with Wizards and said, this is a pairing that would match. That happens a lot in these kind of agency kind of pairings of like, you both could advertise each other here. I think that this would be a good pairing. It does strike me as a bit odd, for sure. It does kind of come out of nowhere, but you know what? If that's what the promotion is, I'm more than happy to have something that isn't traditionally known as a Magic the Gathering story retailer or a Magic the Gathering retailer, such as Random House Books, a big name in the industry. I'm more than happy to have them pushing Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering. So I don't really particularly care how this sausage was made. It seems like it's just a good thing to have happen.
I mean, well, I love watching the sausage being made on almost anything because I like to know how things work. And so I'm just like, wow, I guess, well, they're doing the Ravnica book, right? So I guess this was where they said they could do a promotion. That's fine.
I mean, if the next set is going to be crawling with planeswalkers, like they've implied that it will be, and you don't know who these planeswalkers are, or you don't know who the major players are going to be in the story, this is a great way to get people caught up, I think. So it's not so far out of left field.
And you get more than 20 free Ravnica prequel stories. Maybe it's one per planeswalker.
That'd be kind of neat. Eternally Tribal threw in 1,000 bits. Thanks much to note that bring novels back to fat packs. That's some old school. I remember that. I enjoyed that.
Love those, yeah.
The first Magic novel I ever read was the Fat Pack novel inside the Mercadian Masks Fat Pack.
Wow.
I really like that story.
That's old school. All right. So there is a video that came out. Just linked it here in the chat. If you want to check it out. It is about WPN Premium stores. About WPN Premium explained. What does it mean when they say they're getting rid of levels and they're implementing levels? What it means is now there's one level and then there's like one super premium, holy cow, this is awesome level. And lo and behold, I wasn't expecting this. They didn't say anything far as I know, but lo and behold, you watch that video, it shows pictures of various game stores from around the world, and there is Maitland, Florida. Cool Stuff Games. That is the HQ of CoolStuffInc.com. That is essentially where I work in the back there, and they have a picture of the front, which is great. And it is an amazing game store. Like, it is absolutely fantastic.
And shamelessly self-promote. That's good.
Shamelessly. Hey,
I love it.
If we're going to be in the video, I get to brag a little bit.
Absolutely.
Because the store manager does a great job, and the regional manager, she works her tail off.
Absolutely.
And, it's been really great. And Wizards, I'm telling you, everything, once I started learning about what this WPN Premium stuff was, and they have these promo pack things, I was getting so less concerned and so less worried about the stores at this point, to the point where I'm just like really excited about what Wizards is doing for the stores. This WPN Premium stuff, man, they're not messing around. When they vetted the store, they vetted the freaking store. We had to give them videos. They were marking on little tiny stuff all over the place. They're just like, look, we're going to make this the coveted game store experience. They're going to go out and check it themselves. They're going to send secret shoppers essentially to go out and make sure that you greet everybody who comes in through the door, stuff like that. Things that they want to have happen in a store that they would describe as a premium store. And all these stores that they have pictures of are really terrific and places that I would love to go.
Are the like 7 or 8 or 10 stores in this video the only premium stores?
No, I think this is a smattering of what they have. I don't think this is necessarily the first kind of outlay of premium stores.
These are certainly some big name stores. I mean, I see Lodestone Games, Haruruya was in the video as well. These are some of the biggest name stores, including Cool Stuff Games,
right?
Of the brick and mortar stores that I've heard of.
Right. So now we're working on internally in terms of seeing what we can do with what the tools that Wizards is giving us in terms of the promo pack stuff that we talked about either last week or the week before, and what we can do in terms of working with our players and our player base to grow the community to help with the metrics that Wizards cares about, so that we can get obviously to the top. Everybody wants to be at the tip top and stuff. So let's try to do that. So that's kind of what we're working on now. And it's great that Wizards has essentially laid out what is required and also laid out the type of rewards that you get. And also, Wizards, you just have to realize that game stores talk to each other. You just have to get that and understand.
Really do.
And like they're sharing all this information about the number of packs they get and the number of events they run and number of players they have with each other, which means they're going to, if they've not already, hint hint nudge nudge, figured out what metrics you're looking for and at which thresholds they change. That's just how it happens. Keeping that stuff obfuscated is cute, but it doesn't actually stop the data from getting out there.
Right, and not for this kind of thing. I don't want to have this. I mean, it's cool to have it be a little bit of a gray area when you're trying to decide. Can't even think of a good example. But in a case of finding something that is the premium statistic, you need to have it be a solid number, a solid metric that you have to reach for.
It feels like over time what has happened is that Wizards is like, we want to keep this in a black box, but later it was just like, we can't really keep it in a black box and do it the way we want to do it. So don't worry about a black box. It's okay if we know what we have to strive for. Therefore, we have a goal that we can work towards. That's a good thing. So I encourage them to open up a little bit, if they could, on exactly what metrics they look at and when things change.
The reason why they aren't is because a lot of companies or a lot of, specifically when you're trying to have like the big brass ring at the top, when you want people striving to be the best, they don't want to give you a minimum barrier so that you just get to the minimum barrier and then stop. A lot of people are afraid of that. In this case, I don't think that there's that worry, because game stores are always to keep up with the Joneses anyway. Like, you may not think it, but I'm sure Cool Stuff Games is constantly thinking to myself, man, those Haruruya folks, if they're doing that, or those Mox Boarding House folks, if they're doing that, we gotta do something else to make sure that we're in the video next time, right? Sure. And so I don't think that you're gonna have that issue specifically here. So I definitely agree with opening it up and becoming more open about the qualification process for getting that premium status.
Yeah, but overall, again, I think this whole program is great. Wizards did a great thing. Let's keep on with the greatness. Rock on. This is sweet. Whether or not Maitland or Cool Stuff Games would be involved, this is still a great program and still a great idea. So go. All right. So Aaron, there was a tournament report this week. Tell us about it.
Speaking of greatness, so at GP LA, or Magic Fest LA, there was a lot of talk about young Dana Fisher, who finally made day 2 at an event, and she got a lot of press for that, and rightfully so. She is a treasure. But there was also a young man named Abram Goldstein. Abram Goldstein is 11 years old. What were you doing at 11 years old? Because Abram was day 2ing GPs and going 12-3 at GPs. He went 12-3 with Byrne. CFB gave him the opportunity to do a tournament report, and it was the most charming thing I've ever seen. And he actually has some really good tips. Like, Abram could teach us a thing or two about getting ready for a tournament. So he talks about the fact that in Magic Fest, I had been very sad after my losses and played worse because of it. So coming into LA, my goal was to 0-3 drop, play my best, and be happy. Like,
nice.
Oh. And then he says, I exceeded those expectations. The reason I think this is important is because when you play with a positive attitude, you can recover from your losses knowing you did your best. Another thing that helped me was getting enough sleep. I got 8 hours of sleep before each day. When can you say that? And I think that helped me a lot. I played against and saw multiple people sleepwalking and playing Magic poorly because of it. I read a lot of articles and watched videos of players who know how to play their deck, and I felt supported through the whole event by my family and people from the game store. And I'm like, protect this baby.
Yeah.
This is a treasure. Don't you dare.
At 11 years old, like, my God, like, I know people who it's a miracle if I get 8 hours of sleep before a tournament. I think at regionals, I got 6. And my form of practicing for regionals was watching RuPaul's Drag Race and eating peach rings. Like, this kid at 11 years old just has so much foresight. And it was just really, really adorable. And shout out to CFB for giving this young man a platform.
Wow, he knocked out Ari Lax in round 7.
Sure did. 11 years old. Like, wow.
Yep. Good job.
Excellent job. That's amazing. That's terrific.
Really excellent tournament report, and like quick and to the point was the other thing that I really liked about it. Not that I could have written a novel at age 11, But for the age of the tournament report, we've sort of moved past, and so to have something like this that is like to the point, do the things, and like just hitting all of the high points in fewer than 1,500 words is pretty spectacular.
Well, as Paperclip Monger correctly notes, Wu-Tang is for the children. All right. That's how we do this. We're on here to Desperate Ravings. Oh my goodness. Wizards, I love it when you do a good thing. Mm-hmm. And you did a good thing. Yeah. And that was sending out a very special, and I linked it here in the chat, a very special invite to the Mythic Invitational. They gave a really nice card that has like gold foil lettering. They have embossed leather on what looks to be like a placard that you get, as well as like a little notebook that you can keep your notes in or whatever. But it's just a really, really nice package that Wizards, I don't think, has ever done before. Certainly sent people things before the event and been like, here's some cool swag to get you guys hyped for the event. Here's your official, here's your official invite, and here's your official, sort of way into the event. That is awesome. It looks great. Wizards, you did a great job. Mm-hmm. I like giving them kudos when they do good stuff.
We do. Yeah.
Fantastic. I love it. Aaron, tell the folks about nice packages. No. So we had a couple of the folks tweet these out. Brittany Hamilton was the first one. MTG Nerd Girl was the first one to tweet it out. I had to get that one was an easy one for me to. Okay.
I wish that came with placards.
It's part of why they're here. It's part of why they're here.
But yeah, a couple of folks. I linked Efro's tweet about his invite as well. I think that Asian Avenger also tweeted about his beautiful embossed invite list. I think that it's such a cool idea. They've never done anything like this for the Pro Tour, and so for the Invitational to get this is just a really nice touch.
Mm-hmm. This is this is one of those things where I felt like someone had agency, someone had the ability to change something, and someone had the ability to spend money, and they're like, yo, I think this is the way we should treat them and make them feel super special.
It's not even that much money. Like the things that are the huge value adds that don't cost much money are the biggest selling points of almost any product. I mean, how much more money does it cost to put an airbag in a car than it does to not put an airbag in a car? And think about how much value that adds compared to the cost. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of thing that we're talking about here, it's making them feel like the event is special. Not just that not that they're just being told that it is, but making them feel that it is. And that's fantastic.
Yeah, this is really terrific. And, Wizards, keep that up. And you can also do that for the paper events, too. We promise it's okay to make them feel special about playing paper as well as on the computers. That said, it was really sweet. So, there was an interview with esports director Bear Schmeidecker. And on it, yes...
Aaron can't even hear the name.
I'm not even going to say it slowly.
He is canning his beats and listening to Mountain Goats right now. I promise you.
There's nothing wrong with that. All right. So Bear was saying, quote unquote, we don't have plans to expand to other platforms.
Uh-oh.
First of all, that's a yikes. Second of all, I do not know a Unity programmer. If you happen to know or happen to be one, I would love for your opinion to get back to me. As far as I know, and I don't know if this is 100% true, but as far as I know, when it comes to Unity, you can pay a license in order to make a Macintosh version of whatever game you're making. You buy that license to export to Mac. Then you go file, export to Mac. Now, there might be a few more steps involved with things like making icons and stuff, but by and large, that's more or less how it goes. That's what I feel like was happening. So a Mac version to me is just a no-brainer. Like, it's just, you don't even have to reformat things. You don't have to worry about screen space sizes. It's just exactly like Windows. It's just on a Mac. So why would you not do that? I don't understand.
I would have to look at the timetable of events for Hearthstone to know how they released things. Because, let's face it, Hearthstone copied Magic the Gathering, and now Magic Arena is copying Hearthstone. And through that synthesis process, has created a very good product. However, the parts in which that Arena has deviated from the Hearthstone model have been rocky at best and ill-advised at worst. And one of them has been their unwillingness to expand to other platforms.
I think you guys are missing out on the best part of these tweets. Did you see the
right?
part?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you see the part where Aaron Forsyth clapped back at Saffron Olive?
Yes. It was
So
dope.
Saffron Olive decides. Saffron Olive, I love him, but he loves to stir the pot, and he loves to do it in very like, "Gosh, I didn't know" kind of ways.
Yeah.
So he posts this tweet, and he says, "I'm a little confused why other invitees." Is that a word? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Invitees.
At MPL members can constantly tweet snark about the Mythic invitation format, but I make a single tweet and you and MTG Aaron, he tags him, decide you should dunk on me, but you do you, I guess.
Uh-oh.
Well, Mr.
That's called a narc. Isn't that the narc tweet? Is that what that's called?
Aaron Forsyth, without missing a beat, says, "Come on, Seth. Of the preceding tweets, yours was the sensationalist dunk. We need to keep innovating and iterating despite people's natural trepidation regarding change. 4 people's snarky tweet is not sufficient evidence to pronounce a new idea DOA, so I want a discussion." Bitch! I was living. I was like, girl. This was the highlight of my
really good.
I mean, this to me is sort of a new attitude of just like, look, we're going to just do some different stuff. A lot of what Magic's done in many ways is not change, not try to do anything different, is to stay the course and say, look, the course we're on is an upward trajectory. Maybe it can be a much higher angle as a trajectory if we try to do something else. But now
he was responding to Cedric Phillips, who has me blocked, so I didn't see the original tweet. But it is man, it's always surprising when Saffron Olive finds himself in that little bit of trouble, because he very quickly digs himself out, and he's very good at being like, oh, I appear to have misstepped, apologies, and then steps back onto the curb out of the puddle. But when it does happen, it is interesting.
Yeah. But Aaron Forsyth, though, like, whoo.
I didn't feel like that was particularly, like, embittered. It was just, like, a very factual, like, when your principal is disappointed in you.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of the way Aaron came off, the way I think Cedric came off is very similar to the way he does when he feels like he is 100% in the right, in which he kind of says it. Yeah. So he kind of feels a little dunky in his own way. It's sort of usually a sort of sometimes backhanded, or when he's just like, gotta agree, promotional events where everybody walks away with money and branding equity is total BS because best of one isn't real Magic, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, okay, I get it. You believe that it's a good thing. It would be better if everyone communicated like Aaron Forsyth and just said the things they mean rather than salted them with their, salt.
Or just blocked everybody they disagreed with.
Or that. You could do that.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna move on from that tea.
I do like that the phrase "you cowards" is a great gender neutral term to refer to a group of people.
That's good. Yeah.
Welcome to Magic Mike's, you cowards.
You can't block any warriors now, can you?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. All right.
I love that it's become a running joke. There was somebody that was at an event recently that had, they built a commander deck, I think, based on personalities from the Magic community, and they made Emma their commander, and they had me as sort of like their number 2. They were like, Emma's amazing, you're number 2, and they were listing all of the people, and they were like, I'm pretty sure just tagging you is going to get me blocked. And I was like, no, you're fine. I would love to sign your card. So I love that it's become this weird joke.
And then you blocked him. Okay.
And then I blocked him.
Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye now. Okay, bye-bye.
That's the sign and block. That's the classic.
Block. Get out of here. Go on. Look, all I'm saying is the rumors came out that they were working on Magic Blitz, MTG Blitz, which was the mobile phone product, which is some sort of pared down Magic of some sort.
Okay.
Bit simpler,
I hate
bit
getting
straightforward.
pared down.
Saw what you did there. But we'll see if that ever comes to fruition. I do not expect Magic Arena, as you see it right now, to ever look the way it does on your phone. They're going to have to do something. Even Hearthstone did something. They had to change the layout and the way it works in order to make it work the right way on a mobile phone.
A little bit.
It's just in between deck building and playing the game and yada yada. It takes time. It takes things. So
it is a little staggering. Thanks to Pharmacy Judge for posting the timeline. How far behind the timeline they are by comparison. They came out with iOS in April of 2014, when it was just released in regular March of 2014. And
well,
so
it
we're
had been in
behind that timeline.
It had been an open beta.
More about the MMO. Remember that?
Yeah, the MMO, whatever. Like that thing's just gone.
Whatever. We killed Jaina the other day. Okay, like we're doing things. We're gigging.
Are you expecting World of Warcraft level MMO?
Whatever.
Are you really expecting the MMO like World of Warcraft level? I'm just asking questions, man. I don't know. She's eating peach rings, by the way, for those who can't see. That's what she's doing. Look, Magic announced that on 3/31 at 10:30 Eastern Time. I hope that's AM. I'm guessing it's AM. You're going to get your first look at Magic MTG War of the Spark, kicking off our live panel at PAX East.
Awesome.
We're kicking off the final day of the Mythic Invitational with a trailer debut unlike anything you've ever seen and a ton of card previews. You'll watch it on twitch.tv/magic this 31st. So that's.
Did you see the clip that came out where they revealed the first alliance of War of the Spark? So supposedly Dak Faden, Ob Nixilis, and Karn are working together. Like, you couldn't make that up. Like, oh my God, the Vorthos has lost their minds.
Right. Pretty dope. That is a week from Sunday that's going to be happening.
Like, what could those three possibly have in common?
That's a fun super team
together.
Well,
what could they have in common? Let's see.
Could they be against
Ob Nixilis and Karn could go to the same gym.
Right.
Dak,
MTG Swole,
is the greatest thief in the multiverse. That's Team Steal Your Heart, is what that is.
Nice.
Right? Because Karn stole Venser's heart, spoiler alert, and Dak steals stuff, and so does Ob Nixilis. There we go.
He steals things so
badly.
badly.
I'm thinking of it more like the Wizard of Oz, where one needs a heart, one needs a brain, and one needs courage.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Wow.
Also, the fact that Ob Nixilis is on the side of good and was the original villain of the first iteration of the Gatewatch means that he's the Magic multiverse's equivalent of Loki, I guess, from the Avengers universe in a weird way. So
I've been thinking about making a video that is described that is called "Planeswalkers Don't Make Any Sense," because Planeswalkers don't make any sense. It's weird. Why do they only have 3 to 4 abilities? Is that the only thing they can do? How do they get loyalty? What is loyalty? Why do they have loyalty counters? Are they counting loyalty? Are they more loyal or less loyal?
Sure.
Why would that be the barometer?
I have to say, I've been really surprised by the amount of feedback that I've seen building up to War of the Spark, where people are exhausted. Like, people either feel like, they're kind of planeswalkered out. They feel like planeswalkers have just kind of don't really have any more room to grow. Some people feel that they've always kind of been a mistake, that they've never really taken off before. And there are a lot of people that are really hoping for something drastic to come down the pipe with this set. And I had never really seen that expressed before. I know the odd, Finkel will sometimes come out of nowhere and say planeswalkers are bad, but just so much feedback about it of just something needs to change after this set because people are just burned out.
Yeah,
I think that I've heard that not conspiracy theory, but I've heard the theory that this set is going to be sort of the big bang of not really finale, but the big usage of planeswalkers, and then those will start getting pared down again.
Right. It's the Infinity War. This is
Similar.
Everybody's got to show up. We've been building up to this for years.
But it's not like a reboot. They're not going to change the story at this point. They're not going to end the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They're not going to end the Jace arc.
Right. The Justice League is not going to die. It's probably just going to change a lot.
It's going to be,
And if they try to kill off a monster villain, how many Lazarus pits have we seen in our lives in terms of DC Comics or whatever?
Right.
He said Lazarus pit.
That's the thing.
That's it. I go down to on the weekends.
Hey,
Lazarus pit.
Keeps them youthful. So there's a blogatog, markrosewater.tumblr.com. That still exists. And he answers many.
Does it really, though? Does Tumblr really still exist, or is it just a fever dream that we're all having together? Because from what I understand, Tumblr doesn't really exist anymore.
Not that much anymore. But regardless, this blog still does exist. And someone asked him, hey, Mark, where does black stand on enchantment removal? Because I don't believe there is any. Is that right? Or is there super few?
I don't think there is.
No, there isn't.
Well, he said we're still experimenting with it. You all will most likely see it eventually. So I
think it's fine.
We've seen some experimentation with red enchantment removal. There was a commander enchantment that said that at the beginning of your upkeep, this enchantment it deals a bunch of damage to you, or you have to sacrifice it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something like that. that's probably possible with black. There's the Phyrexia's Gate is their version of artifact removal. I'm sure they're working on it, and I'm sure there's a flavorful way to make it work. So,
fair enough. So that said, we'll see. I mean, I'm up to see where the color pie can kind of shift and move and kind of rotate around and stuff. I don't think the color pie is.
Hear it from the Morrow's mouth.
Yeah.
And always shifting and changing with the possibilities of future design. I think that from a thematic standpoint of the colors, it absolutely makes sense that black should have an ability to deal with enchantments. So whereas it makes less sense for them to deal with artifacts, right? Mm-hmm. Or it makes less sense for red to deal with enchantments.
I don't know. I have to take a cue from one of my very good friends in Vintage. His answer to a lot of things is, I'll just kill you before you can use it. So you figure black has Reanimator, black has things like Storm. It's like, just, right. That's your hate. That's your answer right there, is just be faster.
My expectation would essentially be a Fleshbag Marauder for enchantments.
Yeah.
When it enters the battlefield, both players sack an enchantment, sacrificing enchantments and having black be the sacrifice enchantment color, whereas green can destroy them and white can destroy them in an instant speed or whatever. Black makes you sacrifice them so it can't target, which is cool removal. I think that'd be kind of cool. Either way. That. We'll see what they do.
Red's answer to enchantments is Lightning Bolt. Is that what you were saying?
Pretty much.
Great.
I mean, that's a thing. Let's see here. So we're going to move over here to some splash damage. It ain't about magic, but it is somewhat tangential. On the magical platform of Patreon, we are supported, and we have been supported for years now. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you so much to our patrons.
And if you want to hear us talk about really dirty things and curse a lot, the pre-show is for you.
We were particularly filthy tonight, so just warning you guys in advance.
All I'm saying is we've had multiple people say that it's well worth the money. But either way, there is right now Patreon is just Patreon. Patreon does as Patreon can do. And it kind of works the way it works. It's a very flat system. It works for everybody, yada, yada. Well, they are changing it into 3 different plans, whereas the one that you would currently know as today would be the Pro plan, but they're going to have a Light plan, a Pro plan, and a Premium plan. And if you don't make at least $2,500 a month or more off Patreon, don't even bother.
It's the High Roller service?
Yes, that's the High Roller service.
So so from what I understand, those are those 3 tiers. The middle tier is what we all have right now.
Yes, but they are going to change the system to take more money out of the income that you earn on Patreon. Instead of taking 5% plus the payment processing, they're now going to take 8% plus the payment processing. But there is a caveat that you can take advantage of right now. This is going to be, they're introducing a new processing fee system in May. You're listening to this in March. If you're listening to an old archive episode, I'm sorry. But right now,
2019,
even if you never thought that you would make a Patreon account, because they're going to grandfather in, legacy lock in all of the old rates for all of the accounts made before this system is put into place. So make it like as your name or something very nice and generic, something that you don't have to necessarily paint yourself into a corner, but make one of those accounts in case you ever want to use it for whatever reason you'd ever want to use it.
Well, to be fair, I've heard nothing good about the Facebook one. Like the big controversy around the Facebook one is that you basically have to agree that all of your content belongs to Facebook. And yeah, I'm not aware of like the finer points of it or like the wording of it, but that's basically the gist of it. And so the Facebook one has not been well received at all. I'm imagining the YouTube one won't be either because it's YouTube. So I'm not too worried about this, but if the competition is at least inspiring Patreon to do new and better things, I think it's a good thing, but I'm not worried about either of those services.
There's also Ko-fi or Coffee or whatever that is, KO-FI, which is a Patreon-like service.
Did you know? I also discovered there was a service for streamers where if you have at least 500 followers, your viewers can order you food. I don't remember the call. I think it's Stream Cart or Stream something, but yeah, it's for people who stream often. And like, if you're doing like a really long stream, you can sign up for this thing. And like your fans can be like, oh, hey, you've been streaming for 6 hours. I'm gonna go ahead and send you a little burger or something.
Order a pizza? That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's a real thing. I found it the other day.
Now, do you need to provide your address, or they just follow your IP?
I believe so, but
because as we've referenced before, I'm on the lam. I can't have the cops knowing.
Ruben's dodging child support, so you can't send him the pizza. But
as we've established, I don't have that ankle bracelet when.
Wow. Okay. So that said, Patreon's changing. Make an account for yourself. I have no idea if the users is different than the creators, or if you have to like go towards a creation process and start that process. I'm sorry, I don't know. All I know is I saw a tweet that said you should make an account before these go up. That makes perfect sense. You want to be grandfathered in, even if you don't use it.
Yeah.
So do that. All right. That said, we are going to thank some people for their awesome generosity. I'll get that pulled up right here. We'll start with our subscriptions. That said, our Kickstarter is still running. Our Kickstarter is still almost funded to the...
it is funded.
It is funded. Yes, it is almost funded to the stretch goal. Excuse me.
Yes.
Our Kickstarter is funded. Thanks to you. Thank you very much. And if we can get to our stretch goal, that would be fantastic because I like special guests. And we've only got 10 minutes to go. So want to get in that, please do so. The digital rewards were released today. If you back the Kickstarter right now, you right now have access to all of the mobile and desktop backgrounds using the brand new artwork we're going to have for the tokens on this Kickstarter. So that's cool.
Just to recap, I am an angel because of course I am.
Right.
Evan is a bear because of course he is. And Ruben is a
goblin. I'm a goblin.
I'm a bear. I'm hairy. I'm very hairy.
I'm going to do the bits tonight in that voice. I've decided.
Oh boy. Well, that said, thank you so much for your support, and we'll see if we can get there or not. Let's move back here an hour or so, where the Hackbird has resubscribed for 3 months. Thanks so much. Hoping the KS gets there. Us as well. Tesla Prime resub for 8 months. Chin up, you three. You're adored by many of us on the interwebs.
Oh, thank you.
You guys are great. Let's see here. A Little Aloof has subscribed via Prime. Thank you very much. Smill Cows, longtime supporter of the show. Oh, I'm sorry. That's Bits. I'm not going to steal your thunder on that one. But JSA has subscribed via Prime. Thank you so much. I certainly appreciate that. And let's see. Do we have one more? Paperclip Monger subscribed via Tier 1. Thanks much. Martin Casa resub for 11 months. Kickstarter hype.
Wow.
Martin, you're good people.
It was good seeing you too, Big Bears. Hunter Burton love. Hunter Burton was amazing.
Nice. Yeah, that was great. If I recall, yes, I'm sending Martin a potato. If you back the potato level of the Guilds of Ravnica Kickstarter,
right,
you should be getting your potatoes out now, anywhere to next week.
And tag us in your potatoes. We want to see the pictures. We want to see that you got them. That's gonna be. I can't wait to see them.
Yeah, I would definitely take a selfie with your potato, please. That would be amazing. We can put it up as content on the Patreon or maybe during the set review.
Filter on it.
Would love it.
All that.
That would be terrific. They all got unique jokes written by Ruben with a special...
They're all terrible.
With a special tater flavor. I have emailed and or spoken to the 2 overseas peeps who unfortunately could not get a potato.
Oh,
because they don't ship overseas.
They had shipping to Europe and Australia.
I thought so too, but I also understand why shipping produce across the world probably an issue.
What would it probably look like by the time it got there? Just this festering.
It would be more potatoes by that point.
But it is a real potato. They are sending this off in. Look up potatoparcel.com, which was a Shark Tank endeavor.
Yeah.
Wow, very clever.
I got one for my birthday one year, and then it inspired this because, of course,
cool.
We have our potato emote in the chat, of course. Oftentimes, my internet. It's been okay this episode. I thought I might potato.
It wasn't. You warned us. You suspected it wasn't going to be.
Yeah, but it seems it's been fine. So yeah.
What I would note is, and I want to give a very special shout out to Potato Parcel, because this is what they did. All right, I compiled all the data for the Kickstarter backers and the jokes and stuff into a spreadsheet, and I sent them that spreadsheet, and I said, hey, here's all the data laid out. If you just tell me the number it costs, I will ship you that number. I'll ship you the money however we figure it out. Okay. And they got back to me and they said, well, really, the best thing that you can do is to make one order at a time. And when you make a new order, you get a coupon for 20% off your next one.
Ooh.
But you have to use it in the next 20 minutes. So for I don't know, for 30, 40 minutes, I'm there ordering potatoes one after another after another. They literally told me, they didn't have to, but they told me the way to save the most money on their site, and I got to give them props for that. They didn't have to do that. That was actually really sweet. It's not every day you spend hundreds of dollars on potatoes through sending people. It's really fun. All right, cool. So that said, Ruben, take it away with the bits.
So do I still have, because I just got a pop-up just in the nick of time, my internet connection is unstable. We're still good?
We still see you.
Okay, good. All right, well,
this is the bits for the week. House of Shadow, 69 bits. Nice. Martin Casa, 250 bits. Milkhouse, 400 bits. Paperclip Monger, 420 bits. Eternally Tribal, 1,450 bits. Thank you, everyone.
That's amazing. Internally Tribal, particularly. Thanks a lot. That was
that was
1,450.
We got the
we are eternally
five-sided
grateful
shape.
for you, Eternally Tribal.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, that was fantastic. Let's go ahead and move on here to the finisher.
Before we get, you have to do the raffle.
We have to do the raffle because that's part of the finisher. You see, is
okay.
the wrap. I just made that up. I was going to screw it up. Thanks for fixing that for me. The winner is Hired Zombie.
Nice.
Congratulations to Hired Zombie. Please go ahead and whisper original Estrus, and good luck if she has not blocked you already. But I did say it right.
If they're a zombie, they're welcome. Yes,
right.
Your queen.
It is Magali Villanov. I learned that too.
Wow.
Oh, that's right.
Guillaume Matignon. All right.
Right.
But if you can get Pete Buttigieg, that's a new one, by the way. Buttigieg. I've heard the guy say his own name. I'm trying to get it. It's weird.
Is that how you say it? Okay.
I think so.
Well, he on his profile it says Boot Edge, but when you hear him say it, he says Buttigieg, and it's hard to say.
I see you in the chat, and I know how to pronounce your name, Adderker. You're fine. Just
very nice. Wow.
She knows who she is. Yeah. She's fine.
Atarka. Yeah.
Very nice. Well, congratulations to Hired Zombie. Please give us a whisper. We'll get you your codes and all that good stuff. That said, we are sad to report that from the Magic content creation community, as of right now, CNN broke the news today that Brian, the Professor Lewis from Tolarian Community College, died in a tragic accident. According to the article, quote, the YouTube star passed away early this morning after being rushed to the hospital. Now, here's the sad part. That was totally just completely untrue. Not 100% made up. It was ridiculous. The professor himself tweeted out as soon as he found out about the article that he is totally fine. But that got me thinking, what incredibly salacious and totally untrue headline would get social media buzzing about y'all? Aaron?
Well, Magic Mike's co-host, Erin Original Estrus Campbell, checked herself into rehab this weekend. This has been a long time coming for the acclaimed Twitch semi-celebrity, but it seems she's finally come to terms with her reducaholism. Remember, folks, the first step is admitting you have a problem.
It's true.
And I do.
Ruben?
Magic Mike's co-host, Ruben Mox Ruby Bressler, is missing and presumed dead. Sources close to Ruben say that the well-known lazy magic vagabond died doing what he loved. Absolutely nothing.
But what was he doing?
Absolutely nothing.
He wasn't doing anything. But what was going on?
Absolutely nothing.
Well, look, Magic Mike's co-host, or host even, start again. Magic Mike's host, Evan Mr. Orange Irwin, died early this morning at his home in Orlando, Florida, from complications due to over-enthusiasm. He leaves behind his TV wives, his #5 kids, and of course his hundreds of grand patrons. Very nice. Well, that ends another live episode of Magic Mike's. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things magic. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, everybody, for your support and your love. And come say hello to me Friday night during my Patreon stream. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You guys are great. Thank you, Ruben.
Thank you. We just peaked over 3,500 with 75 seconds to go, so I don't think we're going to reach it for the Kickstarter. But thank you all so much for your support, and we'll see you on the videos, and we'll see you next week and this weekend on Aaron's stream.
Yeah, we are going to continue on, and if we were to speak to some people who wanted to push us across the mark after the Kickstarter is over, we'll see if we can make that happen too.
Great.
You never know. But we're still going to make a thing. The Kickstarter is still fired. You still are great, and we love you all. we're going to move to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsors, CardHoarder.com and Cardomajigs.com, my co-hosts, Aaron Campbell and Ruben Bressler. You guys for watching and listening. Hope you support us at patreon.com/magicmics. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, twitch.tv at Magic Mics, on Twitter at Magic Mics Cast, our Magic Mics subreddit, and like the Magic Mics page on Facebook. Talk to us privately at magicmicspodcast@gmail.com. Follow the audio-only podcast at magicmicspodcast.libsyn.com, or find us on iTunes or Spotify, or join us here next week. Same time, same place for another episode of Magic Mics. Good night, everybody.